Okay, so previously we have discussed about the transport layer and we discussed the TCP connection management in the transport layer, right? And in that we have discussed the finite finite state machine diagram, in which one part was for the client and one part was for the server, right? And we have already discussed the connection establishment and connection release in TCP protocol, right? And in TCP connection management, okay, in TCP connection management, we have discussed the different states such as a listen, synchronization receive, synchronization sent, and all, right? So now today we need to discuss about the transmission policy, right? So this is the TCP transmission policy. So let me show you from the book that which topic I'm going to cover today. Yes, this we have discussed yesterday. Yesterday means the previous lecture. And today we are going to discuss about the TCP transmission policy. Right. So we will be discussing this diagram and then we will be discussing this diagram. This is a silly window syndrome and then we will go towards the TCP congestion control and we will cover this TCP congestion control, and then if the time permits we will discuss about the TCP timer management, and we will take only a brief introduction about the TCP timer management, not the whole thing, right? So these all things are not there in your syllabus. Today we are going to discuss this. Let me go to the whiteboard. I'm telling you that which topic I'm going to discuss from the book because I want you to refer those topics from the books, right? So after covering in the lecture, please refer your book. So as we have discussed that there is a thing called window management. Right. So there will be some window and that window will be allocated some size of that window and transmission will happen over that window, right? So in TCP, window management is to be done, right? So how this window management is done in TCP? So in most of the data link protocols, this window management is directly tied to the acknowledgement. Right, so how it is tied to the acknowledgement, we will be discussing about the data link layer chapter. Right. So here in TCP, it is not directly tied to the acknowledgement. Right. For example, suppose receiver has 4096 byte buffer. You can refer the diagram which is already given in that book, but I'm not showing you the diagram. I will be drawing it over here. Right. So here is one part is the sender part and one part is the receiver part. Right. So this is send and this is receive. Right. So here we are assuming that that receiver has uh, 496 bytes of buffer. Right. So this many buffer space is available at receiver side, right? So if a sender transmits 2048 byte segment that is correctly received, right? So suppose sender is sending here, this is the sender and it is sending 2048 bytes, right? So I am writing 2k over here, 2048 byte with some sequence number equal to 0 to the receiver, right? So it will be correctly acknowledged, right? Because the size of that window is less than the 4096, right? So this packet will be received intact at the receiver side, right? So here the receiver will send the acknowledgement, right? So here you can see that 2048 bytes of buffer is occupied by the first send request, right? So here you can see that another 2048 byte will be available for the next packet, right? So the receiver will acknowledge this 2048 bytes which is received and it will advertise the window of another 2048 byte which is available, right? So now the sender will come to know that another 2048 byte is available at the receiver side, right? So what happens? Receiver has received some data and it has buffered that data, right? So what a receiver can do, either a receiver can store that received data in a buffer until the complete buffer is full, and another option is that it will immediately remove that data from the buffer and it will transmit to the application, right? So here what receiver will do, receiver will buffer this 2048 bytes in its buffer, right? And it will request for more data and it will announce the window of 2048 bytes, right? So now the sender will be able to send 2k bytes again and it will send some sequence number with this. So assume that the sequence number is 2048, right? So the sender will be able to send 2048 bytes again, and after receiving the 2048 bytes at the receiver side, your buffer will be full, right? So now the buffer is full. So what receiver will do? Receiver will acknowledge the particular received bytes, right? So now in the receiver buffer side, it is having 4096 bytes of data and the available window will be 0, right? So until the available window is 0, the sender will not be able to send the data. Right. So this acknowledgement will be received at the sender side as well as the available window size is received at the sender side. So now sender is knowing that the receiver side buffer is full, right? So generally the sender may not send the segments within the two exceptions. There are two exceptions, right? So from this point onwards, sender will not send sender will not send the data, right? So there is two exceptions. First one is sender will be able to send the urgent data, right? So the urgent data may be sent, for example, it will allow the user to kill the process running on the remote machine, right? So urgent data is allowed to send in this case, and the second is sender can send. So the second is sender can send 1 byte segment. So what this 1 byte segment will do, it will make the receiver re-announce the next byte expected and the window size, right? So suppose that uh, here at receiver side, consider this receiver side that the buffer is full, right? So after the buffer is full, what receiver will do? Receiver will extract this data and write it to the application, right? So after writing this to the application, some of the buffer size will be available from here, right? So assume that the sender receiver has sent some available window size, right, of some value sent to the receiver, but this packet has been lost, right? So sender will never know that yes, receiver is available now, right? So in this case, what a sender can do, sender can send a 1 byte segment asking for the available window size from the receiver, right? So it will send a 1 byte segment, and as a result of receiving this segment, receiver will be re-announcing the available window size, right? So these are the two exceptions in which a sender can send the data whenever the window size is available window size is 0. So what this will do, this will prevent the deadlock if a window announcement is lost, right? So here this condition that we have considered is a lost announcement, right? So in this case, a deadlock will occur. But asking for the using the 1 byte segment to the receiver, this deadlock will be prevented, right? Is it clear? Is it clear? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. In case of any questions, you can ask in between. Right. So this was all about the sender. Right. So these things will not be included in your diagram. What you have to include in your diagram is after some time, suppose the application has already read the data, right? So after buffer is full, the application will be reading the data, right? Suppose the application has already read the data, right? So what a receiver will do, receiver will send acknowledgement which was the same. So this acknowledgement will tell the sender that which byte is expected next, right? So sender will know that suppose I have some data and this is starting from 1 byte. So 1 to 2048 I have sent already, and from 2048 to 4096 I have sent in the second session, right? And from 2096 onward I want to send, right? So because the receiver is sending the acknowledgement with the 4096, sender will able to know that yes, the data 4096 bytes onwards the sender have to send, right? So it will again send this acknowledgement along with the window size which is available. Suppose the application has read 2048 bytes, so it will announce the 2048 bytes of available window size to the sender. And the sender may send the data. Suppose the sender is not having the complete 2048 size of data, it is having only 1 KB data, so it will be sending the remaining data to the uh, sender, and it will assign some sequence number, right? So it will be sent, and this process will go on, right? So here, what is the essence of the thing? Essence of this discussion is that receiver will be announcing the window size, and what this window size and acknowledgement will do, it will explain the next byte expected and the window size of the receiver, right? The buffer size which is available at the receiver side and the next byte which is expected from the sender. So this is called the window management in TCP. Please don't get confused with the window management in other protocol with this TCP, right? Whenever you are asked about connection establishment, release, window management and all, you have to be specific, right? You don't need to write the window management in some another protocol, right? This is the window management in TCP. So if you are asked to explain the window management in TCP, you have to draw this diagram and you have to explain this diagram. In this case, there is a scenario in which can degrade the TCP performance, right? So that is a silly window syndrome. So this problem occurs when the the sending TCP entity sends the data in large blocks, but the interactive application on the receiver side reads the data one byte at a time, right? So let me just right. So here what happens in the silly window syndrome? What a sender do? Sender sends the data in the large blocks, but receiver is able to read only one byte at a time. So what will happen here? Suppose at some point of time receiver's buffer is full, right? So how can we buffer? How a receiver's buffer can be full? That we have already discussed, right? So assume that receiver buffer is full, right? So after this point, what your receiver will do, there will be some application will be reading one byte of data. So as a result, at this receiver window, there will be one byte available. Right. So this is the room for one byte. Right. So it will send the window update segment, right? Yes, that the receiver will send the update message that yes, there is a window for one byte. So this is called a window update. So sender will come to know that yes, there is a window for one byte of data. So sender will be sending one more byte of data, right? So one new byte arrives here, right? And again receiver buffer is full, right? And this process will go on, right? So as a whole, the performance will be degraded. So it will degrade its performance until it is forced to wait for some decent amount of room is available for the sender, right? So this is called the silly window syndrome. So just one byte is not considered as a sufficient amount of window that sender will need. Right? Is it clear until this point? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now we will be discussing TCP congestion control. So first of all, what is a congestion? Is there any idea? I would like to hear from you. What is congestion? Right? So whenever a load offered to any network is more than it can handle, it is called a congestion. Right? So there will be a congestion whenever a network is not able to handle the load. So the real solution to handle this congestion is to slow down the data rate. Whenever the data is too much at the receiver side or inside the network, what you need to do, you need to slow down the data rate. Right? So So whenever a congestion is detected, what can we do? We can stop sending new packets until the old packets are delivered, right? So TCP attempts this thing by dynamically manipulating the window size. So So if someone asks you that how a TCP controls the congestion, you can say that it dynamically manipulates the window size in one single line, right? Now one thing that we need to know is the timeout. So whenever a timeout is there, what is a timeout? So there can be two cases where you can consider a timeout is there, right? So a timeout may be caused by a lost packet that could have been caused by either of two reasons, right? So there can be a lost packet. And why a lost packet can be there? There can be two reasons for a lost packet. One is a noise on a transmission line. Right. So one reason for the lost packet is the noise on a transmission line, and a second reason that a packet is discarded at router side. So why a packet may be discarded at the router side? It can be a reason that buffer is full. It may be a reason that a receiver is busy with some other processes. Right. So there can be two cases when you can say that yes, the particular system has timed out. First, first one is there is a noise on transmission line, and the second one is the packet is discarded. Right. So as far as we are considering the fiber optic cables, the problem of noise is solved. Right. So generally there is always fiber optic cables in use. So noise in transmission line is no more problem, right? So main problem is that if some packets are being discarded at the router side, right? So TCP congestion control can be done in three different ways. Right? First one is to prevent the congestion. Right. And the second one is to detect the congestion. So the first case you can consider as congestion avoidance, and second one you can consider is congestion detection. Right. So how you can avoid the congestion? Right? Let us discuss the first point, that is how to avoid the congestion. So we need to avoid the congestion before the congestion happens, right? So first point is that we need to avoid it before it happens. Right. So generally what is being done, that whenever a sender is sending some data, suppose consider a sender window, sender start with some size of data. Suppose a sender is sending 2 raised to 0 bytes, you can say 1 byte of data to the receiver, right? So sender is sending this data, and this data is received at the receiver side. Right. And what receiver will do? Receiver will acknowledge this data. This means that sender will come to know that yes, receiver has enough buffer available, right? So what a sender will do? Sender will increase the size of the data. So suppose the sender is sending 2 raised to 1 is equal to 2 bytes of data, and yes, this data is also received successfully at the receiver side, and acknowledgement is received, right? So what a sender will do? Sender will increase the size of the data, right? So 8 bytes of data will be received at the receiver side, and so on, right? Until the timeout happens, right? So this is called the slow start. what happens here, the congestion window keeps growing exponentially until the timeout occurs or a receiver window is reached to its maximum size, right? So here the sender window keeps growing exponentially. Right. So you can say that initial it is 1 byte, then 2 byte, and 8 byte, and more, right? So you can say that the maximum size will be reached soon, right? So in place of this exponential growth, you can increase the sender window size by 1. So suppose initially it is sending 1 byte of data, the second time it will be sending 1 plus 1 is equal to 2 byte of data, right? And the third time it will be sending 2 plus 1 is equal to 3 byte of data, and fourth time it will be sending 3 plus 1 is equal to 4 bytes of data. This way you can avoid the congestion, right? So here, in order to avoid the congestion, you can increase by only 1 byte, right? Rather than increasing the sender window size by exponential terms. So this is the third case, that is slow start. Right, but in order to understand this congestion avoidance, we need to discuss about the slow start. Right. So what is a slow start? The sender will start to send a small amount of data, and it will increase its window size exponentially. Right, and to avoid this exponential growth, we can also avoid the congestion by increasing it by 1 unit. Right. Right. Now the second type of congestion control is congestion detection. Right. So in this way, in congestion detection, you can consider one more parameter, which is a threshold. So initially, suppose a sender is sending some amount of data and some congestion window is there. So suppose a window size is set to some threshold value, right? Suppose this threshold is there, right? And initially the sender is sending some amount of data, say 1 byte of data, 2 bytes of data, 3 bytes of data, and so on, right? So if a sender is sending some data and it is increasing by some amount of size, right? So after reaching this threshold, what a sender will do? Sender will make its window size to half of the existing window size. So it will set its threshold from this point onwards. So assume that the threshold is set to 32 bytes. Right. So after reaching this threshold, it will set its threshold to half of the window size. Suppose it is reaching the threshold to 16 bytes. Right. So what will happen over here? Here, after reaching this threshold, one more thing that a sender can do is that it can wait for the timeout. Let me draw one more diagram. So here is the window size. So this is the congestion window. Right, so this is the congestion window, and some sender is sending some data, and it is increasing by some value, right? It may be exponential, it may be some other parameter, right? And some threshold is set. Right. So first it is sending 1 byte of data, then 2 byte of data, then 4 byte of data, 8 byte of data, and so on. And it has reached the 32 bytes of data, which is the threshold. So after reaching the threshold, what a sender can do? Sender can wait for the timeout of the message, but it can slow down the increase of its window size, right? So the increasing of the window size will be slowed down. Right, and at some point of time, the timeout will occur, right? So timeout means what? Timeout means what? What is timeout? Yes, I'm asking you. What is timeout? What is timeout? Dhairya, am I audible? भाई कोई तो जवाब दे दो. अभी अभी बताया टाइम आउट क्या है. व्हाट इज टाइम आउट? Dave, what is time out? Am I audible? Am I audible? Yes or no? Should I explain it again? जब कंप्यूटर को लगता है कि पैकेट नहीं पहुंचा और टाइमर 0 हो गया. टाइम आउट इज इन दिस केस in the TCP congestion control. Timeout is what? Whenever a packet is discarded, it is called a timeout. A packet is not received at the receiver side is considered as a timeout, right? पहले ही हमने बात की कि timeout होता है because of the lost packet, right? So the acknowledgement will never be received at the sender side, and the receiver side will discard that packet. This is called the timeout, right? So after reaching this threshold, it will slow down its increasing of the window size, right? So पहले window size एकदम fast से increase हो रहा था. You can consider this. Suppose 5 number of transmission could happen between this time and this time, and after this time you can say only 3 numbers of transmission happened between this time and this time, right? So the sender window, increase of the sender window is slowed down. You can say that it is initially it may be increasing by the exponentially, right? So if it is 2 raised to 0, it will be increased to 2 raised to 1, then 2 raised to 2, and then 2 raised to 3, and so on, right? But after reaching this threshold, suppose it has reached to 2 raised to 3. So this is 32. So consider it is 2 raised to 5. After reaching this 32 bytes, it will increase to 33, 34, 35, and so on, right? So increasing has been changed, right? Increasing of the window size has been changed, right? And it will increase like this. It will increase by 1 until it has reached the timeout. and after timeout it will degrade its threshold to 1/2. Is it clear? Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Right, so only 3 minutes remaining. So we will be discussing about the timer management in the next lecture, and most probably I will be asking you some questions about your assignment number 1, right, in tomorrow's lecture. So be prepared, there will be a viva and all of you have to be present. Is there any question regarding today's lecture? Tell me if you want to repeat any topic. Okay, so let me repeat what we have discussed, just the names of the topic that we have discussed. The TCP transmission policy. TCP transmission policy में हमने डिस्कस किया कि रिसीवर बफर कैसे मैनेज होता है, how it will announce its window size to the sender, right? Then after discussing the transmission policy, we have discussed the silly window syndrome. Silly window syndrome क्या था? There was a size of only 1 byte at the receiver side, and the receiver buffer will be full after receiving just 1 byte of data. Right. After it, we have discussed the TCP congestion control. We have discussed what is timeout, and then we have discussed the TCP avoidance. So how to avoid the TCP congestion. To avoid the congestion, you can degrade the increasing of the window size, and you can increase the window size by 1, right? And what is a slow start? Slow start is actually not slow, it is increasing the window size exponentially, right? So if your window size is 2 raised to 0, it will be next time 2 raised to 1, 2 raised to 2, 2 raised to 3 onwards, right? So it will be increasing exponentially. And what else you can do? You can control the TCP congestion by adding the threshold to it. So after reaching some threshold, you can slow down the increasing of the window size, right? Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you everyone. You can leave now. I'm terminating the meeting.
Thank you, ma'am.